Huh? There. Oh. Huh? Durr.
Hey now, and welcome down to KC Toy Reviews. We are here today with Joker 1/6 scale by Mondo. Now this version is ripped straight from the Batman animated series line that Mondo has been slowly putting out. Is the question of the day being, is this thing worth the price tag? Coming in hot at around $230. Well, that one's up for debate. If you're at all curious of my opinion, well, let's go ahead and dive right the hell goddamn in. Alright, so here we are with The Joker by Mondo, and again from the beloved Batman the Animated Series, and one of the best comic book cartoons of all time. Right there up with the old 90s X-Men show. And bringing this guy to life in front of us in a 1/6 scale version, Mondo has done a pretty decent job. However, out of the box, quality control is already piss poor. Now, this hand, for example, and again, these are small little gripes here, we can actually see a little knob right there. If you're familiar with Gundam or models and pieces like that, the snap-aways, that's exactly what that is. It should be actually snapped and cut off of there, but unfortunately mine was left on, so again, small gripe, you might be shaking your head, who cares? But when you have a license with DC, quality should be absolute top of the line. Next up, I have this little scratch on mine, and it is so prominent that I'm not sure if that's actually supposed to be there, or it's that deep of a scratch that came with my character. And then you can see kind of small little scratches and black pieces and blemishes throughout. The paint job is piss poor in my opinion. You know, again, when we zoom in, there's just some quality control, little scratches, little things sticking up. It just feels fresh off the 3D printer with a lot of things still kind of sticking out. That, again, should have been... Whoa! Now, of course, as we take a step back, it looks pretty good. Again, it's ripped straight from the show. I'm not sure what extra level of detail I really would have asked for. And as far as expressions go, there are a ton of them. This one came with 4 head sculpts. Unfortunately, I had an alarm set. I did want the deluxe / exclusive, whatever the hell they're calling it, version that they had. It came with a ton of other stuff in the very classic top hat that Joker had, and I completely botched it. I missed it. So left in front of us, we have the standard version, and well, I'm still happy with the head sculpts it came with. We will show those off shortly. It came with 4 fantastic expressions, a ton of hands, a decent amount of accessories, and overall I am happy with the poses you can do with it. Now that being said, articulation, well, it's piss poor. Some of the worst I've ever seen. They are a stiff single jointed elbow, a stiff single jointed knee, and oddly, there is no articulation in the feet ankle area whatsoever. So you can move the legs here at the waist, and you can move them at the knees, but unfortunately the feet area are sculpted and locked in place. Pleasant to say, as far as taking off the hands, it was actually pretty easy. There are a couple old Sideshow figures that reminded me of this process where the hands actually all have the pegs already on them, as opposed to pulling them off those ball joints, which sometimes can be a hellacious process, depending on the quality of materials that the makers use. All of these hands were very easy. You could just plug them in via the peg, and again, there are a ton of them that we will show off shortly. Now, is it a problem that the articulation is piss poor? I think I would leave that one up to you. I mean, there is clearly a ton of expressions. There is a ton of hands and a ton of stuff that you can do with this guy. Based off of what I have in front of me and what I've already pulled off, I'm actually pleasantly surprised and excited for the poses that I will have in my display case, so I am happy with what it comes with. But there are some limitations with single jointed knees and single jointed elbows. Especially with this thing, it is a just hunky big piece of plastic, and especially with Mondo pieces, if you are familiar, they are just giant hunky pieces of plastic, essentially a blown up toy on steroids. It's no different. Even the quality, again, if you see those little nicks and scratches all over it, the quality is not much different from just a blown up Marvel Legends or Todd McFarlane type toy. And dare I say, Todd McFarlane type toys actually have a little bit more detail than this in front of us. But this is pulled from the animated series, so I'm not asking for too much more than what we had here. Now just kind of to show off two pieces here, as we see it does have a nice branded stand. The stand was actually pretty decent quality. The crotch grabber plugged in nice and firmly on there, so it's not kind of a janky piece that will wiggle back and forth there. The bottom piece, you can't tell too much on camera. It's a nice oval, but it is rather large. I would say slightly more room than your average 1/6 scale stand at the bottom there. So it is a nice branded hunky stand, not too much complaints whatsoever. And then I thought just while we're at it to mention again, there are no articulation in the feet. Those don't move whatsoever. And as I mentioned before, we have a single jointed knee there, so you can see the big joint that is exposed straight on the back there. From the front, not too bad. You can't see it. Obviously on the back, it is very visible. And just kind of a quick snapshot of all the accessories. We have the two smiling fish. We have the Joker dynamite bomb here in the back. Kind of the very stereotypical old Adam West style bomb that you could put in one of his hands over here. A singular dynamite stick that you can put in his hand, which I had a hard time fitting in his hand. I'm not sure how the hell, unless you just have to jam that thing in there. The cards that are in this hand you can take out, but I'm not sure if they would fit in any other hand, so I kind of just left them there, and they fit nice and snug in there, so I do like the fit. You have a little ice pick here, which is so tiny, and overall the quality on everything is not horrible. As we mentioned, it's just kind of a simple hard plastic, upgraded Marvel Legend-ish type material on these guys. See if I can kind of get that in shot there. You know, little things like even the teeth on there look a little jacked up. And I know that's me kind of griping on the little things, but I just always have to focus on the price point when we're getting hot toys at the $230 to $250 price range that are absolutely flawless. Well, I mean, you've entered that same quality market, and I would expect the exact same thing. And unfortunate to say, well, my expectations were shattered in the quality department. But everything's not horrible. You know, it's sturdy feeling, a good plastic. The paint application is pretty decent. And as we see here, there's just a ton of hands, which paired with all these head sculpts. We have 4 head sculpts on this one. All these hands, all these options, the accessories. There is a ton of options and a ton of variety that you can put into all your poses on this figure. So I'm happy to report on that front that the limitations on pictures, well, so far seem to be pretty endless. And just one quick last showcase of the head sculpts, and well, I'm pretty happy with all of them. I think we might gripe about the price point on this thing. However, 4 head sculpts is rare nowadays, especially with the expressions being wildly different on every single one of them. So head sculpt wise, I am absolutely happy with what's included. And I might even say expectations were met and exceeded on the amount of head sculpts that leaves the door open for a ton of variety on the posability on this figure. And there we have it, the Joker by Mondo from the beloved Batman the Animated Series, and in fact, probably one of the best animated Batman series of all time. And I mean, how the hell do you beat Mark Hamill as the Joker? You really can't. So as we start to round this out and slap a score on this guy, some final closing notes. And first things first, is the price tag worth it? The answer's no. I mean, Mondo is out of their mind with the price tags on their figures. This thing should be coming in at $130, $140. I mean, maybe $150 at max. But $230 to $250, depending on where you got him and your shipping, is mind-boggling. Now, am I going to pay it? Yes, I am a massive Joker fan. If it's in a 1/6 scale format, I have to have it. And with that said, well, I'm still happy with the figure at hand. Tons of expressions, tons of posability options. The articulation might be piss poor, but for some reason it does still work due to the included hands and all the facial expressions. Throw in some decent accessories, and I don't have too much to complain about. It's really just the quality control department. I mean, as this thing spins, I can see knickknacks all over the little fish in his hands, and even the stand. There's a goddamn mark on the stand on the bottom there. And that is just completely unacceptable. Get your crap together, Mondo. Tell your artist to not be so goddamn sloppy. And I'm still perplexed by the gouge on his chest, whether it's supposed to be there or not, because it is so heavily imprinted there. It makes me almost think it's supposed to be there. So quality control is just almost out of control on this figure. Put the knickknacks and the paint application mishaps aside and get that quality control together. Bring the price point down a little bit and you will have a hit figure. Not to say this is not a hit, because obviously everything I say is up for debate and completely my opinion. And well, with that said, I think it's a perfect time to swing this into a score. Honestly, what comes to mind on this guy hits me right in the chest at a 7.3 out of 10. I think there's a balance of the absolute ridiculous price point and all the included head pieces. Very rare to have 4 head sculpts be included at a $200 price point. There's a ton of hands and a good amount of posability options with this figure, so I am pretty impressed with what's in front of me. Just really disappointed with the quality control. Had this thing been ultra clean, no paint mishaps, no scratches or blemishes, he could have been up there in the 8.5 department. Add some double joints on this thing and he would have been a solid 9. But there's a few issues that pull him back into the 7 department, and well, at a 7.3, I'm not saying it's a piece of crap. However, I'm not saying run out and get this guy immediately right now. I think you'd have to be a massive Batman fan, a massive Joker fan, animated series fan to get this guy and warrant that price point. It's going to hold up for a long time, so there are some bonuses to this thing being a solid hunk of plastic. There's not going to be any cloth deterioration or issues down the road. It's probably going to look like this forever. And again, plucked straight from the beloved series, I am excited to have this on my shelf for years to come. I did skip on the Batman because I thought the double joints on the Batman were atrocious. Now having this guy in hand, perhaps I missed the opportunity on Mr. Freeze by Mondo. And of course, I am excited to see what they are going to come up with next. So that's going to be it for us here today at KC Toys. The Joker from Mondo, the beloved animated series, some fish, sushi!
Dig. Huh? Huh? Wah! Dirt. David. Huh?